like a Hellcat.
Hello and welcome back to the channel where of course it's time for another Sega Saturn review, and before I say anything else I need to apologize straight away because this is one of those games that I didn't want to cover and one of those games that I imagine everybody watching the channel will not want to see covered, because I am talking about the tennis game known as Breakpoint, which came out over here in the PAL region, believe it or not, in December of 1996. So no messing around this week. You hit the main menu, you'll see you've got singles games, double games, the Super Cup, tournament, practice, and options. Heading into options, you can set the number of sets per match, whether the tournament is a quick play one or a long play one, turning on automatic replays, tie break points on or off, and you can test all of the audio within the game as well. So heading into the character selection screen, we have got a chap known as Eric Svensson, a girl known as Kate Young, another chap known as Jock Chevalier, Carla Minelli, we've got Brandon Knight, we have got Kiko Takahashi, we have got Paul Williams, and we have got Natalie Fisher. Obviously they are all fake players, none of them are real. You have 8 characters to select from. Once your character's picked, you'll see you can select from 4 different courts. They are clearly visually different, which is a nice touch, but they don't really have any impact when you're playing a game. So with that all out of the way, we need to do what we always do. We need to talk about the way the game looks, the way it sounds, the way it plays, what kind of content and lifespan it's got, and is it worth playing today, and does it make our Sega Saturn top 10? Now in the looks department, Breakpoint is not particularly impressive. The actual courts don't look too bad. I think they look pretty satisfactory, but the character models are nothing short of hideous. They are low quality, low polygon, low detailed, blurred messes. They look hideous. This game came out in December of 1996, way after other games that looked so much better than it. There are no excuses for the character models looking as bad as they do. The stadiums as well look completely sparse, like there's no fans there or anything. It really is disappointing in the looks department. I will say though, the animations for the different shots do look quite good. They're quite smooth and they do look pretty decent. It's just a shame that the character models are such low quality. So moving on to sound effects and music next, and the game really struggles in both areas. Whilst the sound effects for the hitting of the tennis ball are fine, there really isn't anything else going on in the matches. There's no background music, and that, for my opinion anyway, is an absolute killer. It means the game feels lifeless in the sound department. When the players come on the court, you get a little bit of fanfare, but then that's it. When you win a point, there's nothing. It's pure silence, and it feels strange. It feels like you're in a practice setting with just you and an opponent, and no fans are in attendance. It just feels wrong, and it absolutely kills the atmosphere for the game. So for me, sound effects and music in Breakpoint are not good.
Oh, love 30.
So moving on to the way Breakpoint plays, and it plays with a simulation style of gameplay, and I feel this tends to be better suited for tennis games. It means we've got a variety of shots. A and C will pull off automatic serves and standard shots. An automatic serve simply means you press the button once and your character will serve it with no directional input or power input or anything like that. It's done automatically. B will pull off a manual serve, meaning once you press the button, you time it and you can get much more power on these serves. But of course, they may well fault. You've got backspin with X, you've got lobs with Y, and you've got topspin with Z. So you've really got quite a lot of control in terms of the shots. Moving your character around is done via the D-pad. Unfortunately, there are some flaws with the way it plays. The primary one is the fact your characters move like they've got lead boots on, and it really hinders the speed of the overall gameplay, and it is very, very frustrating. It really, really is. And sometimes your characters will swing the racket and you just feel like they could have moved closer, they could have moved quicker. It is infuriating in many, many ways. Another flaw is the way your characters will try and dive for some of the shots, because they move like they're about 75 years old and they've got 2 replaced knees. It's just really, really bad in that regard. So in the gameplay department, the game is very, very frustrating. And I must talk about the way the game plays in doubles as well, because the AI for your computer ally in doubles is nothing short of absolutely horrendous. Balls will come near them and they will just stand there and let the ball go past them and go out, and your team will lose a point. And it makes no sense. It is infuriating in doubles play. The game brings little enjoyment. Whether you play it in singles or doubles, the game brings little enjoyment because the gameplay is simply frustrating. So moving on to content and lifespan, and as I said earlier on, we've got 4 different arenas. We've got 8 characters, we've got a single player match, we've got a doubles match, we've got practice mode, we've got a multiplayer tournament, and we've got a main tour mode as well, if you want to call it that. Unfortunately, it's just simply not enough. You can simply eradicate the multiplayer experience as well, because you're not going to get anybody to play this game with you, because it wouldn't bring you any enjoyment. In fact, you'd probably just be laughing at each other. Maybe that is where the multiplayer enjoyment would be in this game. In terms of the single player experience, the Tour Cup, you enter it, you have to win the 4 in each area. Before you move on to the next one, it sounds okay, but unfortunately the way it plays means you're probably not going to persevere to go through it. It's very, very frustrating to play. And another thing that hinders the content and lifespan is the fact you can't edit the difficulty of the game. It's just set on one difficulty, and I feel like it's just pretty tough to play the game. To win games is very hard, and the enjoyment of the game is just hindered because of that. So in terms of content and lifespan, it hasn't got much content, and it definitely hasn't got much of a lifespan.
Love 15.
So like always, we are left with 2 final questions. Is Breakpoint still worth playing today, and does it make our Sega Saturn top 10? Well, I'm going to end that dispute right now by telling you Breakpoint wouldn't even make the Sega Saturn top 100. Not this year, not next year, not ever. Simply not good enough. Is it worth playing today? Well, the only reason you would probably play this game now is if you wanted to remind yourself of just how bad some of those 32-bit tennis games were, because some of them are really, really poor. This isn't the worst one on the console, mind you, and of course I will be covering that at some point in the near future. For me, the first truly great 3D tennis game was Virtua Tennis on the Dreamcast. That really combined everything you'd want from a console tennis experience, and I have reviewed that in the past. But this is just my thoughts on this game. What I'm always interested in is other people's thoughts on the games I review. So if your views differ, let me know with a comment down below, as always. And I will, of course, see you again soon for another Saturn review. Goodbye for now.